Welcome to the Savvy Property Investors Podcast, a weekly show that delivers the best hard-hitting property industry news, business advice, and talks that will get you ascending in the real estate industry. Now, here's your host, the amazing award-winning property and business coach, best-selling author, and serial entrepreneur, Miss Sapphire Gray.
And welcome to the Savvy Property Investors Show, Season 3. Today's topic is how to have a healthy lifestyle in business. Our guest today is Dawn Jarvis from the Dawn Jarvis Ltd. And I'd like to welcome you to our Property Investors Show. Again, our topic this week, she'll be discussing how to have a healthy lifestyle in business. As you know, running a business can sometimes really be hard. And Dawn is going to share some great insights on how to make sure that our lifestyle in our business is concurrent with our health. Today, we're going to meet the founder of Dawn Jarvis Ltd, author, diversity and inclusion strategist, and executive coach. Registered nurse, Dawn Jarvis utilizes her 35 years of senior leadership experience in the NHS as a speaker, inclusive leadership coach, diversity and allyship, strategist and consultant. Dawn inspires individual business owners, organizations and communities to speak and be heard. With her work featured in BBC, The Independent, Talk Radio, Nursing Times, Nursing Standards, Dawn provides the tools to building the confidence to have courageous conversations, creating a compassionate and equitable community that enables optimum health and well-being for all. Author of Nurture Your Network, her book teaches you to confidently build better relationships, raise your profile, and open existing new opportunities for you and your ventures. Thank you, Dawn, so much for joining us today. I'm your host, Sapphire Gray, so let's get started. Dawn, thank you again for joining us and taking out some time out of your busy day. How have you been?
You're very well. I'm very good, thank you, and you're very welcome. Absolutely delighted to be here. It's good to see you again, Sapphire.
Excellent. So I'm going to get started with the questions and just really want to get a feel for what is your definition on an holistic lifestyle?
Well, that's a really interesting question, actually, and I think it's really important to, and holistic means whole, and to me that means that you have to think about everything in your life and how that impacts on you and the people around you, and also will impact on your business or your career or whatever you're doing. And what I mean by that is in my business, and also I worked as a career as nursing before I started my business. What's happening with myself, health wise and mentally and physically, what was happening with my family, what was happening at work, even what was happening in the road, going to work, had an impact on what how I felt, how I behaved, the encounters I had with people, and how I felt at the end of the day. So to take a holistic approach is to be aware of all of those things that can impact on you, and to be aware of them and aware of the impact they may have on you, and to, I guess, mitigate for that. So if you are stressed, if you've got financial difficulties, if you're having a problem with your relationships, both in the family or at work or in your business, that's going to have an impact on you and your health. So I think that's what I mean about having a holistic approach to health.
Excellent. I really love that answer. And many of our viewers or listeners may be thinking, well, why have I brought on someone to talk about holistic lifestyles and health? Well, we're in the property space, and we're always, our show is all about property, investing, finances, and everything else. But one thing I noticed that people do not touch on is how to live a healthy lifestyle while building out your property business or while building out your business. And this is why I really wanted you on as a guest, to really encourage people to not only look at their business, but you have to start from self, because if you're not healthy, your business cannot be healthy. So how can someone implement changes in their lives to reflect a healthier and much balanced lifestyle?
So I think the key is to have a look at your life totally. So by what that, so one of the things I use at the moment while I'm developing my own framework is the Wheel of Life, and that looks at your home life, your love life, your work life, your business life. And there's a few other things. There's about 10 things in this wheel, but it's sort of like, your food and nutrition, how much exercise you're taking, are you, what do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do for recreation? How do you like to relax? It has all of that in that. And I think if you look at that as a whole and you take like literally do an audit, so you look at your finances, you would audit your finances and sort of like how you can afford your investments in your properties. But if you do that, if you do exactly what you do for your for your finances, for your health, and look at those different things, and then you sort of, one of the things I like to do is do like a time audit. How much time are you spending on these things? How much time are you sleeping? How much time are you, watching television, and how much time are you working? And then when I did this a few months ago, I was shocked at how much time I was actually sitting at my desk working. It's up to 15 hours a day. And then when I realised that, and so that's the benefit of doing this sort of like time audit, is that I thought, well, this can't work, can it? It's I said to myself, it's because I'm setting up the business, you have to really you have to be all in. However, and I think you said this in your intro, that you can't be all in like that in one particular area of life for continuously. It's not sustainable. So when you do that audit, then you have to think about, so I'm spending too much time in this particular area, or are you? And do I need to spend a bit more time in that area? And the benefit of doing it is that you're aware of what you're doing and you're not just like working blind, and that you can see where you are. And I think, if you have, if you incorporate that with how your physical health is, how are you feeling as well? Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling sluggish? Are you irritable? So, God forgive me, I woke up very irritable this morning.
I liken it to like a luxury car. You would not have a service on your car. You would not do an MOT on your car. So why not do an MOT on your health? When we're working ourselves all continuously, we've got to make sure that we look after ourselves as well. So what are some of the warning signs that suggest people are burning out?
So, the burning signs, or the evidence suggests that the burning signs are tiredness, irritability, not being able to sleep or waking up early, constant worry about things, feeling some physical symptoms, maybe a increased heart rate, some aches and pains. But, as a nurse, I have to say, if you feel some like aches and pains and they're continuous in your chest or in your arms, you need to seek medical advice. Don't wait for that to become serious. But if you again, one of the benefits of the audit is that if you are doing it before you get into burnout, is that you will realise if things are changing. So you almost need to have a baseline of when you're good, or so that when things are changing. So it's good to know what your weight is. It's good to know, how much do you normally drink a day. All the things that you read about. So what's normal for you, so that then you will know when things are going awry, what's not normal for you. So are you having more difficult relationships, with your family, and what does that mean, and what is that about? Also have good grace. Give yourself some grace. I'm saying is that what's going on for you that might be causing you to feel differently, if that's how you feel. And I really like your analogy of the MOT and the service. So the service is like to keep everything tip top, but the MOT can find out what's going wrong. So I really love that.
Yeah, and I always tell people to always plan out your schedules. Do a 90-day plan. That's what I always tell my members and clients. Plan out your time so that it's structured, what you're doing, so you don't feel like you're burning out yourself over work. Work is supposed to be enjoyable. Building out a property investment business is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to feel like it's quicksand and you're drowned in. It's supposed to be where you can just flow through it. But yes, ill health does happen to us all. I've had spells of it myself. But when I recognize it, when I recognize my body needs rest, I take rest. I don't ever keep on trudging through because that's what society says I should do. I know what my body is saying. So take out time and reflect on where you are in your health and do something about it as well. So would you say that ill health really affects someone's ability in building wealth? And why do you think this?
So I think if you aren't feeling very well, it affects your decision making. And, just to go back to what you said about planning, that if you've got a plan, you can see if you're off kilter with the plan. And if you are making decisions that aren't really in line with your values and what your expectations were and in the way things that you planned to happen. So, and I know that people will do this with you in your programs, is sort of like, what do people want to achieve?
Yeah.
What are their goals? And the planning follows the goals, and I like to reverse engineer it, so I like to know where I'm going, and then so then it gives you an idea of how to get there. And then it also going back to the audit and stuff like that, it gives you an idea that if things are off, so that if you had a plan, to have a property, and you've done a step process and sort of audited your time and things like that, you would know realistically how much effort and time you had, what resource you had to go towards that time, go towards that plan. And if that isn't the case, then we need to reset, don't we? So that, and sort of if you become unwell, either mentally or physically, that's a sign that things, pain, there's a thing in the healthcare, but pain's a warning, isn't it? So if you can't sleep, that's a warning, isn't it? It's telling you something. I always say that there's in action or inaction sends a message. So if someone asks you a question and you don't answer it, so there's a reason but you don't answer it. So somebody recently asked me a question, I thought I didn't answer it, and I thought that's very telling that I didn't answer it because I didn't want to answer it and didn't like the answer. So that's it. So I would say that's what you need to do about it. Going back to what I said earlier, so be really cognizant of what your norm is. So if it's off, then and then you need to think about, what do I need to get it back to where I need to be.
So would you say, aside from financial success, what are other things that you consider as wealthy, like being healthy, happy family, ability to have your own time? Would you consider that as part of a wealth group?
Yeah, so health is wealth, I think. Health is wealth. And you can't, so to me, there's no point being rich if you're unhappy. So if I personally know millionaires who are very unhappy people, and they haven't got living relationships, they haven't got family around them, they haven't, they're not in good physical health. And I worry that if they drop dead in the night, they're locked up in their house, and because they're so frightened people are going to steal from them. And so it's sort of like, it's that mindset around, I've got all this, I don't want anybody to take it away from me. However, what's the point of having the money then? You know what I mean? I'd rather be poor and be happy. So so to me, I'll repeat, I'd rather be poor and have a loving relationship, have people around me, and and be happy in my day-to-day life, to be content. And I think money, I need money. I have a property. I need to pay for it. I've got investments and things like that. I want to have a comfortable retirement, but I want both. I want to be fulfilled in my work life. That's one of the reasons I started my business, and to have money. And I made those plans around how to start my business based on what I could afford to do, what I could handle, and really planning around what it's a constant assessment of how that's going. And so I know in my business that I'm a professional, I'm a nurse. If it's not working out, I can go back to that. So that's my fail safe, and I think it's really important to have one. I don't want to go back to that, so I do the actions that are necessary, including with my health, to make sure that I don't have to go back to that.
That's very true. And people always band this thing around about health is wealth and think such like, but always say, stay in your lane, stay in where you believe your wealth is. Wealth is not measurement of how much money you have, I believe, in my opinion. It's a measurement of what you define as the individual defines as wealth. And for me, health to me is my wealth, because without a healthy mind, without a healthy body, I cannot create anything. I cannot help anybody else.
Absolutely.
I can't even help myself if my health is deteriorated. So looking after your health is the number one wealth factor in building additional wealth for whatever you want that legacy to be, building that generational wealth, building out that portfolio. But looking after, number one, your health is key to any successful person, be it as an employee or as an employer. You have to look after yourself and make sure that you can look at your health from a holistic point of view, look at your health from a perspective of, where do I sit now? What do I need to improve it? What do I need to improve my mind and help my mind generating then into generating financial wealth? So looking after your health first generates that wealth, but then it will help you to generate your financial wealth. I totally agree with that.
I just want to add to that if you are healthy, it gives you the resources that you need to be wealthy, including the resilience that you will need, because it's very hard work, isn't it, to sort of generate those assets, to keep those portfolios going, to keep several businesses going, to manage staff. It takes energy and time, but if you're healthy and have got a good foundation, that helps you when the times are tough. And I think that is the main thing that I would say. I have been in a situation recently with somebody I admire and respect, and I can see they're totally burnt out, and to the point where I've had to say, if you don't do something now, you won't be able to do anything. And and I have known people who've not been able to get out of bed because they just have to stop. And if they're the mainstay of their business or their organization, that means that's a risk to their organization and to themselves and to whatever they're trying to do. So you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you actually can't function anymore. And some of the work I do with business owners is I don't want them to get into that state, because I know, because I am an A-type personality who works very, very hard, has always worked really, really, really hard. And I've got ADHD as well, so I'm like very focused. I'm going to do this, but you have to stop. You have to think about if you can't do it, what's going to happen. And a part of that is who's around you, who can support you with what you're doing, what are the assets around you, and assets are people, buildings, money, aren't they? So that is that's what you need to know. What you need to make an assessment of what's in your world and what can support you in reaching your goals and keeping you, so you can keep it all going.
Well, in 2005, I remember I was working, it probably wasn't, but it felt like I was working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I went like that for probably half a year. Then I went away abroad, and I wasn't feeling too well when I was abroad. I came back on the Friday. By the Sunday, I was on a life support machine. So I was so burnt out. I didn't even know I was sick. I didn't know what was going on. I ended up with pneumonia. I had clots in my lungs. So to me, it's like, from that episode there, it really made me sit up and think, what am I doing this all for? Am I doing it for the money side of it? And at the time, it was that. Now it's for the love of it, as opposed for the money side of it, because I realized that if I don't have my health, I have nothing. I don't have anything to bounce back off. And I built up my property portfolio and my business around my health. So now that I can have income coming in and generating from my portfolio, it allows me to then take out more time on my day-to-day basis without working as hard as I did. And I would never advocate for someone to go out there and burn out themselves just to achieve certain goals. It is not worth it in the end. And I learned my lesson, and I shared this lesson only to say it is about looking at yourself and looking at the signs of your body, and it's telling you something. And I didn't see those signs, and it was nearly too late for me to recognize those signs. Hence why I'm sharing it today. Recognize your body. Your body always tells you when you're not well. Your body always tells you when you're exhausted and tired. And that lucrative deal that's out there will still be out there when you're ready to rejoin the
For
world.
real, for real, for real,
It's not going
for real.
anywhere, you know. And I
I
think
tell
that's
you what,
yeah, go ahead.
I think that, so I've got two things to say. So um when I was nursing, and I was very ambitious, and I always wanted to get promoted and stuff like that. And a friend of mine said to me, "There'll always be a promotion, this one it'll come and go. There'll be another one. It won't be the last one." And I remember that. And that's what, if there's an opportunity, if there's an investment to make it if it's the right thing for you and the right time for you. If it's not, another investment will come around, whether that's in your career, whether that's a course, whether that's whatever the investment is. It's not the last chance. And there people try to think, oh no, you've got to get it now because no, we'll be gone. But that's not true. There'll always be another one. Trust me, I'm old enough to know.
Never go after opportunities as well, because some people just chase down opportunities that is not actually suited to what they're doing in their business. It's not for them. So don't do that as well, because that can then force you to burn out as well, because you're chasing down too many opportunities that what, not for you. So know where you are, and that's why I always say stay in your lane. Know what is good for you and not good for you. Absolutely.
And the second,
go ahead.
I just want to say one more thing, because I meant to say it earlier, and it's like a bit of a there's no pockets and shrouds is an expression that we have in nursing. So when you're dead, and there's you can't take it with you. I've had people die in my family, and all their stuff is in the house. So you need to enjoy it while you're living and be healthy enough to enjoy it, else there's just no point. If you've had a stroke and you can't go for a walk, what's the point? So enjoy it.
And also another point on the back end of that is knowing how much you want to live on. Do not watch anybody else's pockets as well, because a lot of people, when they're chasing money, they're looking at their counterparts. Oh, they've got more money than me. Don't do that. Do what you need to live on. We're living in a society today where the cost of living has gone up. Everything seems to be going up. Our taxes, our inflation is going up. But when you understand what you can live on, it makes it so much easier to then have that balanced lifestyle. It makes your health easier. It makes your wealth building easier. It makes you and your business being created and a solid foundation, because you understand where you need to be and positioning yourself as that person that this is what I need for me and mine to live on. So don't try to overstretch if that's going to have a detrimental effect on your health. This has been a brilliant share so far, but join us after the break with more insights from Dawn.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button below. Our podcast is only made possible by great listeners like you.
And welcome back to the Savvy Property Investor Show. Dawn, you have been sharing some real good insights into how you look after yourself in the health realm, but also looking after your mind, what you should do, how to help yourself in your business, and how to slow down without burning out. So what can business owners do to find a balance between a healthy work lifestyle and a healthy mind and body?
I think it's tricky, actually, and I haven't got the answer. I mean, look at me. So I haven't got the answer. It's a constant working towards that. Actually, it's sort of like every day to reset. I think is the best advice I can give. I spoke to somebody on my podcast around you know, how they do that. So one of the things I speak to people on my is like, how do you do it? I speak to business owners, you know, about how they do it, and the best answer I've had so far is I spoke to a gentleman, and we haven't actually recorded it yet, but he said that every morning he thought about, he had a drink of hot water and lemon, and every morning he thought about what he wanted to achieve during the day, and at least 3 things he wanted to achieve during the day. And he had a drink, and he sort of said a sort of an affirmation or incantation or a prayer, depending on what your beliefs is around, as well while he had a drink, so that he would get the strength to do whatever he was going to do during the day. And I absolutely love that for so many reasons, because I think sometimes, and I know I do, I wake up thinking, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, oh my god, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then you're sort of like rushing around, but you're not actually thinking, what do I want to achieve? And it could be something, I want to have a peaceful and serene day. It could be something that you want to achieve during the day. You might want to go for a walk, you might want to go to the gym, you might want to have a conversation with a friend. So, you know, when you read about, you know, when you read about mindset and you read about relaxation and stuff like that, that's sort of the things that they recommend that you do. But, you know, if you set your intention at the beginning of the day, you know, then, you know, that sets you up for the day. So people talk about, you know, having some kind of sort of morning routine where you do that reflection, that meditation, that prayer, if that's what you want to do. Think about what you want to achieve for the day. And in addition to that, I would say at the end of the day, reflect about, did you actually achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Absolutely
during the
agree.
day. And then, you know, I'm not going to say that I do that every day, but I actually got in my diary every day what do I want to do today. And at the end of the day,
it's a balance between, I always say, when you get out of bed, plant your feet. So that means putting your feet firmly on the ground and just relax for a minute. Just take out a minute and meditate on how do you foresee your day. Do not be in a hurry to just rush onto your phones. Don't grab up your phone. Don't look at your emails. Just reflect that you woke up today and focus on that. And then when you start to focus on that, you are actually alive today. What do you want to achieve for the day? So it's about planting your feet and feeling firm that you are awake. So you have the day ahead of you. What are those things that you want to achieve for the day? And those tasks should be done the night before. I say set yourself at least 3 to 5 tasks the night before, so you already know what your day's outlook's gonna be.
Good
When
advice, like that.
Get out of bed and you plant your feet, you just say, hey, I'm alive. And whoever you need to pray to thank for that, do that. And then you can take your warm water of lemon, which I know a lot of people that I know does that. Or I have constantly at my bedside, and get up and stretch and feel energized. Because when you do that and just take a moment for yourself, you start to feel, I'm going into something I love, as opposed to when you rush out of bed, oh, I'm late for work, I've got to do this, you're in a hurry. You feel flustered, you feel frustrated. Then someone comes along and irritates you in the house. Then, you know, it triggers a negative emotion throughout the whole day. So start your day by planting your feet and just feeling relaxed and saying, hey, I'm here, I'm alive, thank God for my day. And then you've already got your day's agenda ahead of you because you've done that the night before. So you know what you're going to do. And if it means going for a walk first thing in the morning or going to the gym, you can listen to our podcast show. That's for one. Yes. You can also listen to other podcasts. Yeah, other podcasts.
Other podcasts are available.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's other things that you can do to just motivate yourself for the day. And even if it's taking up a newspaper to read an article on property investing or on health or anything like that, do that before you actually start your work day. So if a business owner is overwhelmed with work stress, what is one of the things that you'd say they should implement immediately?
I would say the most important thing, and this has worked for me, is to find other like-minded people that you can talk to. because I worked a 9 to 5 for 35 years. Well, no, actually, that's not true. It's about 15 years. I did actually 9 to 5 because I was nursing clinically before that. But I've worked since I was 15. Full time since I was 15. So when I stopped doing that, it was like, who am I going to talk to about this? And sometimes the people in your life do not understand your business, or the things that we worry. So I have a whole different kind of things that I think about than I did when I was working for the NHS, because it's a totally different tip. So what has helped me is to find like-minded people to join things. That's how I met you, Sapphire. Do you know what I mean? So that you meet like-minded people who are sort of going through the same things, because they will understand what you are going through. There's two benefits from that, is that you're able to share with people who understand you. Also, there may be opportunities to do things together. So so it's a reciprocal arrangement. You're not sort of like I'm sort of like, oh, woe is me, blah blah blah, and then sort of like that person has to take it on. No, that don't work. And people will shun you. Don't do it. So but so that's it. It's to make friends who are like-minded, as you would anyway, because it can be quite a lonely business. And I would say, with your groups and your programs and everything, you've got like-minded people who've got the same objectives. They might have different ways of getting there, different backgrounds, experiences, but you've got some commonality around what you're trying to achieve, and find support through that, because sometimes your family can't support you. Sometimes the friend that you've had for years does not understand what you're doing now. So you need to sort of like find people who do understand. You still need to have those people in your life, because I think it's important to have people who've got different perspectives. I'm about diversity. So, you need to have a diverse perspective on life, not just surround yourself with people the same as you and think the same as you. But it's really important that you do have successful people, surround themselves with successful people.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I would say.
And I always say I love building communities. I don't call them groups. I don't call them clients. I call them a community of women that come together from all diverse backgrounds and being able to just share and impart knowledge and just be part of something that people want to. I can reach out to any of my members and we can have a conversation. Yes, they may be a member, but because I've built the community, they don't feel like there's the hierarchy levels. They feel that we're all together on the same journey, trying to achieve for ourselves and building out our businesses. And even if they're still employed, it's to try and help them to navigate, how do I transition from being an employee to my own business. Yes, business can be a very lonely place. And I recognize that many, many years ago, being in business over 33 years now. And for me, it's like, I want the community. I want people around. I want like-minded people around me so that I can share ideas. I can bounce these things off. And also, if you're feeling unwell, if you're feeling burnt out, you can reach out and just say, hey, help. A lot of business owners, a lot of people do not ask for help. And I always encourage it. Do not feel and work in isolation. If you need help with something, if you're building your property business and you said, you know what, I need help to understand the strategies, or I need help, how do I get finance? I'm always there on tap to help people to really navigate around their business. And I'm sure you do the same in your field as well.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah.
I really like what you said about asking for help. And that, I suppose, if you create community, if you're part of community, it makes it easier to ask for help. Because I think with A-type personalities who like business, are drawn to business. I'm not saying everyone in business is an A-type personality, but there's a type of person who's drawn to work for themselves or to want to build up financial assets for the future. Is that with that personality, it also means that you want to work things out by yourself because you're clever already, you're resourceful, so you think you can work it out by yourself. But if you're in a community, if you're surrounded by like-minded people, it makes it easier to build trusting relationships, and it makes it easier to ask for help. Also, A-type personalities love to give help. We get off on it. So so you have that resource that can do that for you.
So would you say that having like feeling healthy has a real impact on working and your personal relationships as well.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think that it's interesting. I think that when you're unhealthy, you draw unhealthy people and unhealthy behaviors to you, and people mirror that in you. So
Hmm.
if you're if you're in that frame of mind, if you're not well, if it also, as you know, we spoke earlier about, I believe you make different decisions when you're in a place of stress. It depends where you're
Yeah.
coming from. If you're feeling unwell, it literally alters the state of your mind. And so you may make different decisions. And, some people are drawn to that. And,
Mm.
but if you're healthy, and you're healthy in mind, body, and spirit, you have better confidence and you can make better decisions. You can also work out where people are coming from so that they can't take advantage of you, that
True.
you're assertive and that you
Hmm.
know what you want. And so we talk about planning and what your goals are and everything. If you're really clear about that in a healthy state of mind, that means, and you've got a community of like-minded people who will help you and support you,
Absolutely.
it actually helps you with your resilience to deal with people who might not want the best for you,
Mm.
people who might want to take advantage of you, and you become that confident person. So that sort of person doesn't try it. Do you know what I mean? They don't, because they know that that you're a strong, healthy person. You're not going to take any rubbish from
Yeah.
people because you're assertive and you're very clear about your values and what you believe in and what you're trying to. And when you engage with people, you do it in that way. And I think when you're like that, you draw healthy people towards you, and you're also able to repel unhealthy people away from you. And sometimes, and this has been my experience, that's a sad experience, because sometimes people who were with you before, they were with you because you were vulnerable and you weren't really well, and they, sort of like that. And as you become stronger, they're like, what's going on here? No, this is what I signed up for. So
Yeah.
so your relationships might change. And that's
Absolutely.
part of the loneliness of being an entrepreneur, I think, is that your relationships change with people. So, and you might feel sad about that, but what I would say is, whatever's good about your relationships, keep it,
Hmm.
or the people around you, keep that. Reject what's bad, but not in a reject the person. Just, you're not dealing with that bit. You're just dealing with what is good about what the
Yeah, and I
people
always say
around
each to
you.
their own. Yeah, everybody's got different personalities, and sometimes when you become mature, like myself, you tend to start to see people for their realness. So
Hmm.
you can kind of deal with it in a different way. And I always say
Yeah.
there's things about healthy relationships, in the workforce as well as in
Hmm.
your personal life, that you have to have this balance on. And we're going back into this whole healthy relationships and healthy
Uh-huh.
personal relationships and healthy
Yeah.
healthy work relationships.
Yeah, but
Being
that's
surrounded
what we're
with
going back to the
your
holistic
yeah,
thing. The
yeah,
holistic thing
yeah,
is that you have healthy. If you are healthy, that enables you to have healthy relationships. It's all
absolutely.
part of it. You will have better relationships or more balanced relationships. You might lose some relationships, or they
Mhm.
might be different, but they will be healthier. So so if you are healthy, people can see it in your face. Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean? They know. They know.
But it's
They
going
know.
back to that thing as well, isn't it, Dawn? That you have to have, you have to start with self.
Absolutely.
No relationship, be it business or personal, is gonna ever be healthy if you don't start with self. Understand
Hmm.
what you want for yourself, understand where you're coming from, and be the better version of yourself. Not everyone
Hmm.
can take criticism when it comes to business, or even looking at, so you can make a decision, I want to do this specific business in property or this strategy, and it may not be for you. So you've got to start looking at yourself and building your own strengths as well. So is there any advice you can give to those feeling guilty in stillness, or taking time off, or find it difficult to switch off from work when they're at home?
So the first advice I'd give you, you're not alone, because I struggle with that. There you
Yeah.
go. So yeah, that's the first thing. However, I know it's a good thing. It's a good thing to just sit with yourself
Hmm.
and reflect on what you want.
Yeah.
Reflect on, as I said before, on your day, and how that aligns to your goals, your values. Are you making the right moves? Are you not? Why might that be?
Yeah.
And then you can make some different decisions about what's the best thing to go forward. In nursing, in the health service, there's almost like having a badge of busyness. I say to people, when I started nursing, and God was a boy, we weren't allowed to sit down. It wasn't acceptable to not be continually moving. And I have a culture of that. That is a culture that I grew up in. That there's always something to do, and there's no time to not to be doing stuff, because there's always something to do, and that has not served me well when I've had periods of illness, because I felt guilty. I felt that I've got to achieve this, and then I can rest, and then that day doesn't come. So in talking about when we're talking about how you can be healthy, wealthy in all ways, and resilient, spending time reflecting, meditating, praying, what works for you, is a time to be still and by yourself. And I have struggled with that, but I know it's really important.
I've also come to a realization with that as well this year. I haven't been too well myself this year. However, what happened is that I started to feel bored of what I was doing. It started to feel overwhelmed, and that's the first time in my business lifespan that I've ever felt I don't want to do this anymore. I started to lose enjoyment out, not what the programs or the things that I had or the clients. It was just me, and I was thinking, where's my joy gone? What's happened? What's happening here? And I just realized that I needed to take out time. I needed some stillness. I needed to just stop. So I made a huge decision in my business that I would do 1 week on and 1 week off in my company now. So everything that happens, it's always in 1 week, and then the other week I'm sitting back. And if it's reading I'm catching up with, if it's family and friends, if I'm going to a concert next week, things like that I'm doing for me now, because I've got to the point in my business where I don't need to work. I love to work, but I don't need to work. So I just said, well, why am I working so hard if I don't need to do it? I've always told people, balance out what you need to live on, find that happy place of finances. And then once you've reached that, do you need to keep on going and burning out yourself? So I got to the point where I said, enough. I now take out a week, and it's a week of what I want to do. And then the 1 week where I do business, and I've got a team behind me as well. So that really does help to allow me to recharge. And it's like, the next question is, in your opinion, how does delegating of tasks help reduce work stress as well? Would you say?
It does, absolutely. And again, to full transparency, it's something I've really struggled with, because I'm a sort of person that when people do stuff for me, it's not quite how I want it, so I might as well do it myself. But you just have to think, what's acceptable? What's acceptable?
Yeah. True.
And things don't have to be perfect; they just have to be acceptable.
Yeah.
If you're very clear about your standards and what you expect, then the people around you know what is to be expected, and that's something around boundaries, and what needs to happen. Being really clear about what the business is to achieve, and that person or persons around you, what their role in that is. What are they supporting you to do? I really believe, and for myself, there are things that I am strong at, like talking, doing podcasts and talking is what I am good at. I am not good at writing documents or, replying to emails. So the thing is, if that's the case, then I need to find somebody who will do that for me. And then so I can do what I am good at, finding that space. And it's a constant negotiation of self-knowledge. What are your strengths? As you said, I really believe that all of us should work in power, work in our power, present in our power, do the things that are good, and that you are good at, let other
Yeah.
people do the things that you're not good at. And you may be limited by finance, you may be limited by time. You know, one of the things I'm finding is that you can't just expect people to do things at your standard. You have to teach them, you have to say, you have to articulate your expectations, and you know, but then you have to hold people accountable for doing what you
Yeah.
ask them to do, and whatever resource you've given them to do it. And but you know, and that's going back to what we said earlier about being holistic. You know, having enough sleep, having enough time. What are the resources around you? Who are the people around you, both in your personal life and your business life, your team? You know, how are they supporting you? How are you supporting them? But at what time have you got to do that? Because you know, and that's all part of it, you know. So one of the things I've got to do, because I'm getting totally overwhelmed, is that I'm taking next week. I've got some things I've got to do next week, but the rest of the time, I'm not. I've just cancelled my diary. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just like
Sometimes you have to just do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to just stop, take a beat, you know, just exhale and just say, you know what, enough. And you don't need to. The money will always be there.
And
You know,
there.
your rights will always be there. But you could effectively burn out so much that you're not there. And that's what we don't want for our listeners and viewers. We want you to be, you know, improve your lifestyle, make your money. We're not saying not to, but do it in a way that is affordable to your health, that can give you back your time and enrich you to want to do more, but on a balance. So what is what the last you can leave for our listeners and viewers today?
I would say always come back to you. Always come back to. I worked with an organisation while I was actually still working with the NHS, and they had a really good thing about their values of what they expected of the organisation, and they talked about it as their true north. They were saying that, you know, you have your plan, you have your values, you have your vision, your mission, and you know your objectives, but you know you have your true north, and you know you may not be always facing true north, but you should always be planning to get back to true north if you're set adrift. So I would say stay true to yourself, stay true to what you want to do authentically, you know, and you know, and if you know that you want to do things authentically in the right way for the best things for yourself and for your family, or whatever's important to you, think about how you're going to do that and stay true to those values. And when it feels off, do something about it, and you will know when it feels off. And then, you know, sit with that and then think about, so what does that mean, and what do I need to do next? And you know, and that incorporating everything we've talked about. What are the resources around you? What do you need to know? What do you need to do? Because they will be the enablers that will help you get back to your true purpose and your true north.
Absolutely. So Dawn, thank you so much for sharing all those insights with us today. How can our listeners contact you and learn more about the services that you actually offer?
So you can get to my website, which is www.dawnjarvis.com. I am on all the socials as Dawn Jarvis, and you know, Dawn Jarvis is actually quite a popular name, but it, you know, I'm a Black woman, Dawn Jarvis. There's not many of them. I am the person, and I love social media, so you'll find me there. If you send me a DM or comment on one of my posts, I will answer you. I might not do it straight away, but I will definitely engage. And I love when people engage with me. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm writing a book called Nurturing Your Network, which should be out very, very soon, and is available on pre-order. So, you know, that, and then as I'm launching that, you know, I'll be doing more sort of media and sort of like publication around that. So, you know, look out for that too.
So thank you so much, Dawn, for, you know, sharing all this plethora of information with us today. Really enjoyed it. Loved interviewing you, and, you know, just love what you had to say and the feedback you gave to our viewers and listeners. So come on, savvy investors, let's take flight. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, download, and definitely please share. You have been listening to the Savvy Property Investors Show, brought to you by your host, Sapphire Gray. Thank you for listening.
This week's episode of the Savvy Property Investors Podcast was brought to you by our sponsor, the Savvy Women Group. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to our website, www.savvywomen.co.uk, to gain access to our free resources and more insights about our guest speaker today. Remember, we make your business our business, so you can unlock your full potential and improve your quality of life.